Good morning to my favorite kindergarten students. Today we're going to be talking about density. The last few days we've talked about how density can affect us and how it can make some things float and other things sink. We're going to start by reviewing what density is again. Density is a word we use to describe how much space something takes up, or its volume, in relation to the amount of matter in that substance, its mass. Another way to put it is that density is the amount of mass per unit of volume. Now I know those are some big words, so we're going to talk about it some more. Let's look at that first picture. There's a container full of cotton candy. The next one's full of sugar. Which one looks fuller? You're right, the one with sugar, because sugar is more dense than cotton candy. If you look at the picture right underneath it, it says low density and high density. Which one is leaning lower? Which one's leaning lower? Yeah, the one with high density, because high density means that it's heavier. Perfect. What makes something dense? Let's think about what we've learned so far. We've learned that density means something is heavier. It has more volume. So if Miss Taylor was to give you a styrofoam cup and a coffee mug, which one would feel heavier? Yeah, the coffee mug would feel heavier. It would probably make your hand feel a little heavy and hurt maybe if you held it a long time. What about the styrofoam cup? Yeah, we could probably squish it, make it smaller. So the styrofoam cup is much less dense than the coffee mug, just based on how much they weigh. Let's remember that for later. Why do some things sink and other things float? When you're in a swimming pool, do you sink? Yeah, we don't really sink. We usually float, right? Why do you think that is? Yeah, because we're more dense. We have more density than the water does, so we end up floating. Oh, Miss Taylor messed up. We are less dense, so we end up floating rather than sinking, because if you're more dense, you sink, right? Let's look at this picture right here. This picture has some water and some oil in it. Which one do you think is more dense? The water or the oil? Yeah, the water is more dense. That's why the oil is floating. Good job. Okay, let's go over some fun facts. These fun facts are going to get us ready for our project tomorrow, our experiment, where we're going to find out what our favorite candy bars do, sink or float. So, if Miss Taylor cut a strawberry in half, do you think the density would be the same? Remember, density is how heavy something is. So if we cut a strawberry in half, will it still be the same density? Yeah, it'll still be the same density. What about, if we were to go in a hot air balloon, do hot air balloons fly because of density? Yeah, that hot air expands, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, which makes it fly. Good job. What about an iceberg? See that picture of the iceberg with the penguins? Do you think the iceberg is floating and it's bigger than it is? Or do you think that it's just kind of sitting on top, not really underneath it? Right, Allison, you look under the picture, you can see all that ice underneath there. Ice floats because it is just barely less than water. That's why there's some underneath the water. Okay, friends, tomorrow we're going to experiment with our candy bars. We're going to find out which ones sink, which ones float, and which ones are more dense than others. Can't wait!